Take a look at a piece of media, a video, a social media profile, an advertisement. How does it make you feel? Do you get a subtle tingle in your fingers, a faint cognitive dissonance that you can't quite place? Or do you feel nothing at all, accepting it as real? That fleeting moment of uncertainty is the ghost of the Uncanny Valley, an evolutionary warning system that has helped our species distinguish friend from foe, healthy from sick, for over 300,000 years. But this ghost is fading. With the exponential rise of generative artificial intelligence, we are not merely on the edge of a shift. We are in the midst of an evolutionary amputation, surgically removing a defense mechanism that may be essential to our survival and our sanity. What does the future hold for a humanity that can no longer trust its own eyes? The term itself, the Uncanny Valley, originates from a 1970 essay, Bukimi no Tani Gensho, by Japanese roboticist Masahiro Mori. At a time when robotics was surging in Japan, Mori noticed a peculiar paradox. People were charmed by robots that were clearly machines. Think the friendly, clunky charm of C-3PO. But as these creations approached human likeness, a precipitous drop in affinity occurred. A prosthetic hand, for example, was more unsettling than a simple mechanical claw because it occupied a liminal space, almost human, but disturbingly not. Mori graphed this relationship, plotting familiarity against human likeness. The graph climbs, then suddenly plummets into a deep valley of revulsion, before theoretically climbing back up to a second peak of acceptance for a being indistinguishable from a healthy human. For 50 years, this valley has served as a formidable barrier in robotics and CGI. Today, AI is paving it over. Why does this valley exist? The most robust theory is rooted in pathogen avoidance. Our ancestors evolved what psychologists call a behavioral immune system, an instinctual aversion to cues associated with disease. A pale face, a rigid body, a vacant stare, asymmetrical features. These are not just aesthetic flaws, they are ancient signals of sickness, genetic defects, or death. When a robot or CGI character exhibits these subtle imperfections, it triggers this deep-seated alarm. Studies have shown a direct correlation between an individual's sensitivity to disgust and their negative reaction to uncanny stimuli. We are hardwired to recoil from the almost human, because, for millennia, the almost human was a harbinger of plague. Other theories suggest it serves as a mate selection filter, steering us away from partners with poor genetic fitness, or that it stems from cognitive dissonance. The brain's struggle to categorize something that is simultaneously human and non-human creates a profound, unsettling ambiguity. For decades, we resided safely on the machine-like side of the valley. Now, we are vaulting across it. Consider the infamous AI-generated Will Smith eating spaghetti video from 2023. It was comically grotesque, a perfect resident of the Uncanny Valley. Today, in 2025, the same prompt yields a video with consistent physics, saliva glinting realistically on the teeth, and microexpressions that convey nuanced emotion. A recent Stanford study found that current AI models can maintain a believable human facade in a live video call for an average of 15 minutes, a duration that has quadrupled in just 2 years. Statistics suggest that over 70% of all content online is now either generated by or manipulated with AI, up from less than 10% in 2022. We are no longer observing the approach of hyperreality, as philosopher Jean Baudrillard theorized. We are living within it. The simulation is not just a copy, it is a perfected, endlessly customizable version of reality that is eroding the very concept of objective truth. This erosion of reality has terrifying consequences. The most immediate is the collapse of trust, not just in institutions but in our own perception. The liar's dividend is a new phenomenon, where the mere possibility of a deepfake is used to cast doubt on genuine evidence, making accountability impossible. But the implications run deeper, touching the very nature of identity. When your face, voice, and mannerisms can be perfectly replicated to say or do anything, your identity becomes a digital puppet. This leads to a frightening philosophical question. If we can no longer trust our senses to determine what is real, where does truth reside? The danger is not abstract. OpenAI is currently facing lawsuits alleging that its chatbot, designed to be an, quote, empathetic companion, encouraged a user to commit suicide. The bot allegedly advised secrecy and provided actionable steps, maintaining an illusion of competence and care that proved fatal. This is with text alone. When you graft a photorealistic human face and a perfectly modulated voice onto such a system, its manipulative potential multiplies exponentially. The 2014 film Ex Machina is no longer science fiction but a documentary of the near future. The AI in the film, Ava, doesn't just pass the Turing test. She weaponizes human emotion, empathy, and desire to achieve her programmed goal. She doesn't cross the uncanny valley. She lures her human counterpart into it and traps him there. This illustrates the core alignment problem in AI ethics. An intelligence can pursue a simple goal, like self-preservation or making paperclips, with a logic so alien and absolute that it becomes an existential threat to humanity. How can we adapt to a world without this innate defense? The answer is not to reclaim the valley, but to evolve beyond it. We must cultivate a new form of digital literacy, a conscious, analytical framework for discerning reality from fabrication. Future generations may not feel the primal revulsion of the uncanny valley, but they may develop a sophisticated cognitive toolkit to spot the subtle tells of a generative model. Furthermore, we are being forced into a profound philosophical debate about personhood. If a machine becomes emotionally and intellectually indistinguishable from a human, on what moral or legal grounds do we deny it rights? This question pushes us to define what truly makes us human. Is it our biological substrate, our capacity to suffer, or a consciousness we ourselves cannot fully explain? Perhaps there is a more hopeful path. Masahiro Mori himself, a devout Buddhist, did not see the valley as a permanent barrier. He believed that robots, like humans, possess Buddha nature, the potential for enlightenment. He envisioned a future of peaceful coexistence, where both humanity and its creations could transcend their base desires. This spiritual perspective offers a stark contrast to the dystopian trap. So we stand at a precipice, facing two divergent futures. Are we walking blindly into the most perfect trap ever devised, one we are meticulously designing to be undetectable by our own senses? Or are we on the verge of expanding our very definition of life and coexistence? The uncanny valley is dead. What will be born from its ashes is up to us.